Hello, welcome. I'm really glad that you were able to come today. I've got some samples to show you for nearly every room in your home, and so I think that it ought to be a fun experience and we ought to get a lot accomplished today. So did you bring the magazine tears? That's perfect. Okay, well let's start there then. Oh, great. Okay, let's look and see what you have. I always find so much that I like in this magazine. Let me see. Looks like you've got it tabbed for me. Oh, this is gorgeous. I really love this use of light right here. I love how it creates space. I also like the mix of different scales of patterns for these throw pillows. Okay, and this is gorgeous. I really like these granite countertops. I think that's going to be great in your case. I'm going to go ahead and make a note of that. I think that throughout this process it will help me to go ahead and make notes of what you're interested in. Let's see this last tab here. Oh, the deck, how gorgeous. I really like the plants. I like the bench seating. I think this is really a great example of how we could do your deck successfully. Okay. Speaking of the deck, I think that it's best for us to start there. I've got some great wood samples that I'd like to show you. Now, these aren't our only examples. They're just a good starting place. Now, I've got this American Cottage, is the name of this one. You can take a closer look if you like. I like that as well. This one is just simply called Natural. And finally, we've got my favorite, which is called Gunstock Oak. I really like those for the deck. Now, these aren't your only options. We could also go with what you're currently using on your deck and just paint over it simply. Here's some examples. As you see, we have gorgeous chips to choose from. This is specialty paint that can give you any texture you like or any color you like. I have some particular suggestions for you. I love this slate gray. I think that's gorgeous. I also like chocolate and adobe brown. I think starting with a neutral palette and then allowing little pops of color to come in is a great way to go about decorating. Absolutely. And while you're on the deck, patio furniture is a great way to allow yourself to let some color in without being too overly dramatic. For example, your patio furniture. You see there's so many creative textures and colors that you can work with. I've chosen 3 examples of a pop of color to go against your neutral background. We've got Crossfire, Orange Poppy, and Slate Harbor. I think any of these 3 would be lovely against your backdrop. I agree. Okay, so we'll go with the Safe Harbor. Okay, so now let's talk about your kitchen. I know we agreed today that we decide on tiles for the backsplash. And I have some interesting samples here that I think you'll like. First, I've got more traditional backsplash. It's more vintage coloring. This would also be the most economical version. I really like the mix of the brown with the taupe with the beige. You like that? Okay. Let me make a note. Great. Okay. Next I've got this white selection. You can never go wrong with white. It always looks clean. It adds a nice look to your kitchen. And this geometric pattern really provides a gorgeous backdrop for anything you want to add to it. Okay. And next we have my personal favorite. This one's got some gray, some cream, and aqua. I think this is a really gorgeous color pattern. Now this one is a bit more costly than the others. It's glass, and it is such a beautiful palette for kitchens. I really think that aqua works really well in kitchens and bathrooms. So that's something to think about. I also like this one a great deal. I really like the natural tones. And I think stone makes things look nicer. I really like the color pattern in this. You can see it mixes some darker earth tones, also with some lighter pieces in here. Yeah, I think that's a gorgeous addition to your kitchen. Really? Okay, well, if you like that one, I'll go ahead and note that. And finally, I've got this darker piece, which is really beautiful. This one's called Smoke, and you can see why. It's got some darker gray tones, also mixed in with a splash of the lighter gray. So let's talk about your living room now. Now, as far as the color palette goes, as you know, we've got a gorgeous selection to choose from. Everything from your more vibrant tones, to your mid-tones, to your lighter neutrals. You can mix and match any of these, you know. You can also mix the textures with the colors. I think a good place to start is going to be with your upholstery for your drapes and for your furniture in your living room. Of course, I've brought some samples for you. I'm going to show you a few of them, and we'll just flip through gently, and you tell me if anything catches your eye, okay? Now this one is called Corsica and Saint-Tropez, okay? Now any of the patterns you see here, the color is subject to change, so if you'd like, for example, turquoise or forest green in this pattern, we can do that as well. Okay. This is Island Coral. Gorgeous pattern. This is Punta Cana Plaid. This is Coral Reef. It's a nice scale stripe to use for pillows, for curtains as well. And here's Coral Reef in a small scale. This is called Tropical Garden. Tropical Leaf. Another of the Punta Cana Plaid in a different color. Spring Green. Now we have Coral Reef in the green. Tropical Garden in the green. Again with Saint-Tropez and Corsica. Island Coral. Tropical Leaf. Saint-Tropez in the brown. And Corsica in the brown. Again with the Island Coral. And as you're seeing, we can replicate these patterns in any color that you wish. Again with the Tropical Leaf. Island Coral, this time in blue, which I think is gorgeous personally. Tropical Leaf. The Punta Cana Plaid. We have Saint-Tropez and Corsica. Sea breeze stripe. We have coral reef. This is excellent for bathrooms. And then we have coral reef in a smaller scale. Those are all gorgeous selections, but I do have another book for you. And you might find more of what you're looking for in the drapes. There are so many prints to choose from. As you can see, I'll start at the back for you so that you can see these can be made into rugs, curtains. We can use them to upholster chairs. We can use them for sofas, anything you like. Bed skirts. This is Bentley Rose. This is Bentley Rose 2. A little bit deeper of a background there. This is Forest Rose. Forest Rose on Lemon. This is called Cabana, and it comes in several shades. We've got a brown, a deep brick red, and a gorgeous blue. A burnt orange, a taupey green. This one's called Rothwell. Here's a different version. Yet a different version. This is called Key West. And you can see the different versions of all of these patterns. This one's called La Flor, and I personally like this one for your guest bedroom. I think it goes well with the color patterns in that room. This is also called La Flor du Pony. This one's called Garden. Ardsley Park. And then a deeper Ardsley Park. Now, did you see anything that you particularly cared for? Really? I also like that one too. Let me make a note of that. I know, that was gorgeous. Now let's talk about the carpets in that living room. Now, depending upon which of the fabrics you choose for your drapes and for your couch, that's going to make a huge difference in what we decide to do with the carpet. Now I brought some beginner samples to look at. Don't feel like you have to make a decision today. If none of these carpet samples are up to your standard, or maybe it's not what you're looking for, we can always find something more suitable at a later date, okay? This is just a preliminary run just to get a feel for what kind of things you like, alright? Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you the different varieties. This is matchless, elegant, official, top-notch, genuine, sparkling, superior, paramount, definitive. I don't know if you can see down here. This is perfect, authentic, and champion. Just gonna let you look at these. So let's talk about your bathroom tiles, okay? Of course I've brought some samples because we really need to make a tile selection today. This is our last opportunity together to be able to choose tiles for the restroom. So I've brought some gorgeous options. I've brought glass options, and I've also brought stone options. I think each of these are beautiful, and any selection you make would be a nice one. I specifically like this marbled stone. And if you're going with the glass, I really recommend the beige or the turquoise, or a combination of the two. I think they go really nicely together. Think so? Okay. Let me go ahead and note that. Okay. And maybe we'll do the trim also in this beige color. Think so? That is great. That's a great idea. Okay. So we will go ahead and do the beige and the turquoise. I think that's great. Okay, and the trim. Just a second. Alright, I like that. And don't forget that you can always go a more economical route. If you prefer to do linoleum in the kitchen or in the bathroom. There are some great textures and colors available. I like this one. This is also a nice choice. And it's also easy to install. going to save you lots of time and money on installation. And finally, the most neutral. I think I like this option best if you were to go this route. So I'm going to go ahead and send you home with some samples of maybe the things that you were a little less sure about. So I'm going to send you some of these paint chips for the bedroom colors. We've got the wood thrush gold and the maple wood trail. I'm going to send you with those. And here's the neutral palette that you can think about for the backdrop. These also have some interesting information inside with color selections and ways to put the colors together. And it gives you 3 different options for each card. Okay? And then these selections will be your pop of color and the backdrop, okay? So I'm going to send you with one for yellow-based neutrals. And then I'll also send you one that's got blue-toned neutrals as well. Cooler colors are becoming increasingly popular. And you can see why, because these are some gorgeous choices. With your pop of color still being very safe. See, I really like this Cotton Whisper, Pensive Sky, and maybe with Milestone as well. And then you can always use this Deepest Aqua for a pop of color. Okay. You think so? Okay, let's note that. Okay, so we've got you all set now. I'm really interested to hear what choices you're going to come with next. And keep looking at those magazines, okay? Because those are really going to help you get some great ideas. And we're going to make this functional as well as a decorative, beautiful home for you, okay? So great, it was great to see you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.